Okay, that way everybody can see what we're talking about. And then let me just say this is Arnold, and he has graciously volunteered his time to help AIAA Region IV with career development. And he does a lot of great career development activities, and he's going to take it from here.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited for this. Plus, when I was in college, I was a vice president for AIAA for my student chapter. Actually, we founded the first student chapter. I was the vice president, then I had the president, and we started the first student chapter at our school. And then, as a professional, I've gone to the SciTech conference. I did the one in San Diego like 3 years ago. It was a lot of fun. So I'm always glad to be working with AIAA in any aspect. All right, so how to land your dream job. So this presentation, it really is kind of like an overview, and it's not a, hey, here's all the details. It's more of a, hey, to get you thinking and then start introducing some topics. You will get a lot from it. You will get actionable advice on it, but it is more of an intro, because we could probably talk about resumes and interviews for each of those topics for like an hour, especially interview. We could talk about that for a while. Okay, so how to land your dream job. I like to start these off by just taking a break. Literally, let's breathe, some strong breaths, let's stretch, because I know some of you it might be like taking a break from work. Some of you might be taking a break from classes. So let's make sure we just we stretch. Do 3 deep breaths, so we can really kind of get in the zone. Oh, if I got my Superman pose, I do my Superman pose before presentations. Yeah, and then also I'm hoping this is a conversation, right? I don't want this to be lecture. I've been a college professor, but we're not in college classes right now. So feel free to turn your camera on, feel free to jump in, feel free to talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's make sure that we're doing this. Let's see, our next slide. Dream companies. What are your dream companies? If you're here, you're interested in how to land your dream job or find another job. But so what are some of those dream companies you want to work at? Let's see, I start to see some chats come in. We have Alex, no Mike, no worries, Alex, as long as you can hear us. Works at Lockheed Martin in Fort Worth. I did a presentation to Lockheed Martin in Fort Worth on personal branding a while ago, so hopefully we're able to join that one. Let's see, we have Hayden from UT Austin, master's student. So Hayden, what's your dream job? We'll help you here, get it. And then we have Thomas, who's at Psych. I know that company, but I can't remember what it stands for. I've seen it at the career conferences. Okay, in Houston, very cool. So we got Fort Worth, Austin, Houston. So yeah, a lot of Texas. Okay, let's see. So dream companies. When I was in college and even my career, my dream companies were always the big aerospace companies: Boeing, NASA, Lockheed, Northrop, Blue Origin, SpaceX. Those were my dream companies. So it was always, but it was a dream, right? Like, how do we create that dream into reality? And that's what we get to talk about today. Before we get into that, a little bit about me. And the reason why I share these details about me is so you realize that there is nothing special about me. I don't know where I'm from. People ask me, Arnold, where you're from. I'm not sure how to answer that. So I was born in the US. I think I did elementary, and I was born in Miami. I did elementary school in Indiana. I did middle school and high school in Honduras, Central America, and then came back for college. So I was born in the US, but I didn't grow up here. So I've always felt like an immigrant, but I'm not really an immigrant because I was born here. And then when I was in Honduras, I felt that I was from Honduras, but I was born here. So they were saying I wasn't from Honduras. So I was never Honduran enough to be from Honduras. And I've never felt American enough because I didn't grow up in the US to feel American. So I'm a combination of both. Also, when I moved from Honduras over to the US, I was working at a warehouse. That's why I had that box. I was working at a warehouse. I hated my job, and I didn't know what to do with life. I didn't finish my high school diploma because of financial situations in Honduras. Moved over to the US, so I got a GED, a general education diploma. And then I went to community college. I started at Ivy Tech Community College, amazing school, like definitely changed my life. I was at community college. And when I started at community college, I didn't even know what engineering was. Like, I started engineering school without knowing what it was. I did this aptitude test that said, hey, you would be good with my math and science, STEM majors. And it was a, hey, okay, I would be good with STEM majors. So what does that mean? And they were like, okay, Arnold, which of these STEM majors do you want to major in? And I loved ATVs and cars. So they were like, well, maybe you should look into mechanical engineering. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but sign me up. That sounds good. And I spent that first night on YouTube and on Google looking up what is a mechanical engineer. Also, aside from not knowing what engineering was, is I am a first generation student. So I'm the first in my family to go to college. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what financial aid meant. I had no idea what FAFSA meant. I was totally lost. I was low income, so I had no idea how I was going to pay for college. I was a minority, Hispanic in Indiana, so I felt there was not that big sense of belonging. And I had no network. I literally just moved from Honduras. I don't even know a professional. Not I don't know an engineer. I don't even know a professional in the US. And then I'm also non-target, right? I go to these smaller schools that Boeing, Northrop, Lockheed are not going to go knocking on our doors. I went to IUPUI. Does anyone know IUPUI? Exactly. No one knows IUPUI. So non-target school, amazing school. It's actually one of Purdue University's. It's the Indianapolis campus. That's the PUI portion, Purdue University, Indianapolis. It's a joint campus between IU and Purdue, but very small school. Big companies don't really go recruit there. So even though all of these things, right? So you think about that. It's like, I'm not some person that grew up in this great high schools and went to MIT. I was is what I call underdogs. And I was still able to land my dream job and get into offers of all the big companies that I wanted to. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So I want to make sure you know that there's nothing special about me. And everything that I'm going to talk about today, you can do it. So let's see, we do have some comments. Hayden, I would really like to work somewhere that I can work on or around supersonic, hypersonic flight vehicles. Very cool, which is what my research is focused on. And you're part of AIAA, perfect. I've talked to so many people about supersonics and hypersonics at AIAA at a seminar and stuff. I actually know the CEO of a company. He used to be a CEO at Northrop Grumman. I think it's called, can't remember the company, Aero something, but it's an amazing company. Yeah, so that's awesome, Hayden. I mean, you're doing the right stuff, right? You're starting to target, and we'll talk about that. All right. So when you're a non-traditional person or when you're a non-target person, people will tell you to stop dreaming. That is the number one thing that I feel that stops everyone from landing their dream jobs themselves taking in what someone else told them, like, you're going to work at NASA. Till this day, my sister thinks it's amazing that I work at Boeing, and not in the good way. She's like, why would Boeing hire someone like you? She literally told me that when I got my job. I was like, why are you going to hire you? Like, what do you even do there? So my sister was bugging me about that. So now I get to rub it in her face every now and then. But yeah, people will tell you stop dreaming. And then my whole idea around life has always been, if your dreams don't scare you, they aren't big enough. So make sure you're always pushing yourself. And then I would love to hear some of the obstacles that people have with landing their dream job. What are some of those obstacles that are you facing? So let's see, Thomas, Hayden, Alex, what are some of those obstacles that either you faced in the past or you're facing now to go apply for that position or that job that you really want? And then feel free to throw it in the chat. Feel free to go off mute. I will tell you that I used to be a college professor. So I'm really good at staying awkward silently here until someone gives me an answer.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think for me, maybe in the past, my biggest obstacles are in landing a job or possibly just interview skills in general.
Perfect. Interview skills.
I haven't had a lot of experience. I've had a couple of internships, but in terms of like full-time positions, I haven't had any intense interview experiences like that. And so that's something I'm trying to work on getting better at.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll hint on some of the things that to do on interviews. And that's great, Hayden, that you know, like, hey, here's one part that I struggle, because just based off of what you said, based off of your research and based off of you having internships, you're an ideal candidate. So it's just a sealing the deal with the interviews. So that's good. That's good that you're starting to figure those things out. Great. Let's see, Thomas. Starting out, it was sometimes finding listings and getting a foot in the door. Getting a foot in the door, that is a big one. I will tell you, once you get a foot in the door at a company, everything else it's easier. Your goals are going to be harder, bigger, so you're going to keep on pushing yourself, and it's going to be hard. But to get a different job, it's easier. To get another internship, it's easier. To get your dream job, it's easier. The hardest one is getting that first internship, is getting that first position. After that, it gets much more easier. So that's one good thing. All right. So here's some of the jobs and positions that I had. When I was in community college, I got my first internship as a sophomore, and I was working at Aerodyne Engineering, so a small aerospace company that I was a project engineer. So community college, sophomore, not even a junior or anything, just a community college sophomore has this internship that I was competing for people in the 4-year schools. So I was able to get that one. After that, at a conference like the AIAA conference, it was a similar one. It's actually the one I'm going to next week. Actually, no, the one I'm going to tomorrow. So flying out to LA tomorrow. So at that conference, I got my first big company, Northrop Grumman. I was working on ICBM, so nuclear missiles. That's a picture of me with a nuclear missile statue in the back, and that building is actually a bulletproof building. And that's inside an Air Force base. So it gets as safe as you can imagine, right? Like, you're inside an Air Force base, you don't really need that much more security. And nope, they still have this bulletproof building. So yeah, I was able to do these jobs, right? And remember, back then, non-traditional, non-target, so nothing special about me. And then I'm doing all these amazing jobs. My second year in college, my third year in college, I'm at Northrop Grumman. After that, I also did some roles with Praxair. They do coding and aerospace parts. Now they're called Lindy, actually. So I was part of that. I was doing for GE engines, we were doing for NASA parts. And then I was able to get my dream job at Boeing. So Boeing commercial airplanes. And then I've also received several offers from competitors, from other companies using these techniques, right? I received offers from Blue Origin, from NASA. I did interviews for like their highest leadership development program at Lockheed Martin. Obviously Northrop, because I worked there. So I pretty much hit. I at a minimum had an internship with, I'm not internship, but interview with all the top aerospace companies. And I started to see that there's trends. And I've helped about 30 people get into these companies. So all these trends are the same over and over again. And let's talk about some of those trends. Oh, I have a question here. What about elimination by company algorithms? That is a great question. And we'll talk about that right on the resume. So perfect segue. So, okay, how to land your dream job in a nutshell. Like I told you, we can't really cover all of this in 1 hour. So kind of an intro just to get you thinking. So number one thing is, to get experience, you need to have experience. It sucks because it's that bitch's chicken and the egg cycle, but it is what it is. You need to go get experience so you can land your dream job. You're just gonna excel, like you're gonna really stand out if you have experience. And what do I mean about experience? The best experience you can have is internships or jobs, right? If you're looking for full-time jobs and you're already in the industry, just getting a job. And this is the same for students and for early career and mid-career professionals. Same exact topic I talk about, same exact techniques. Just kind of like this presentation was geared towards students a little bit more. So number one thing, internships. Go get internships. The second best thing, and that will help you get internships, is research. I know Hayden talked about doing research. So doing research, that's another. Anything where you can work as a group and put what you're learning in the classroom into the real world. That's gonna be the biggest thing, right? Getting that experience. If you can't get an internship in research, or you're like a sophomore, go do group competitions. AIAA has an amazing one. I did when I was a student. did design, build, fly, where you design, you build, and you fly a RC airplane. So go do group competitions like those. One, you're gonna be learning what you're gonna need for internships. You're gonna work in a group. You're gonna put what you've learned in school into real world projects. And that's what we look for. So I'm actually gonna be recruiting at GMIS next week, and then I'll be, not next week, on Thursday, yeah. And then I'll be at CHEP, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, next month. And I'm going to be recruiting, and this is exactly what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for people who have experience, either internships, research, group competitions. If you don't have any of those, you're automatically pretty much to the mid section of my pile. Just because there's going to be so many people that have great experience or that are selling their experience better than someone else, and they'll get first pick. Let's see, second, right? Okay, now we have the 10%, 20% of students that have experience. After that is, hey, is this person just someone that just got involved? They just did that internship, but they don't have any other type of involvement. So I look at these things to stand out, right? You don't have to have all of this to get a job or internship, but if you have more, the more things you have on here, the better it is. So get involved, either, and be a student leader. That's all aspects we're trying to find. Pretty much here, we're just trying to see that you work well with others. So get involved, become a student leader. What do I mean about that? I mean, go lead a effort. Go get involved with your AIAA chapter and lead an effort. You don't have to be the president. Just lead an effort, and then you'll have that leadership skill that you can add to your resume. Go tutor, go become a volunteer tutor, go mentor people, go just anything where you're helping someone else or you're working in a group, leading other people. That's going to be stuff that's going to really make you stand out. Oh, where's my, I used to have this. I haven't done Zoom presentations in a while. I used to have this little, like those little things that dance. It's hard to explain. I used to have one like, hey, you really want to stand out, because there's so many people at the career fairs that the things that are going to make you stand out is the things that are going to get you interviews. So these are things that make you stand out: student leader, people with experience. Okay, so that kind of hints on what the type of things you'd be doing. Let's live career fairs and conferences. So the statistics, and I can't remember off where, but I keep on reading statistics everywhere. Pretty much they all say around the same. They say 40% of the jobs get filled through referrals, and we'll talk about that later. The other 40% gets filled through career fairs, in person, virtual, whatever, but they're career fairs, like where you're actually talking to a human. If you're actually talking to a human, you're much more able to get an interview. So career fairs, in-person career fairs or virtual, that's fine, as long as you're talking to a person. That's gonna 40% get through there. Conferences, same thing with the career fairs. The other 40% get through referrals, and then I think it was like 6 to 8% get their offers from just blindly applying online. So usually with my clients, the first thing I tell them is, I have coaching to help people get their jobs. The first thing we do is stop applying online. Just stop it. You're wasting your time. Let's go build some relationships with people at the company so we can get referrals, because that's going to go from 6% chance to 40% chance. And then let's go career fairs. That's going to go from 6% to 80% chance, or whatever the chances are. I didn't do the math on that. But it's just much more possible for you to get a job that way. So go to the AIAA career fair at the conference. They have regional stuff too. Go to those things. Go to your school's career fair. If you graduated already, you can always go back to your school's career fair. They're usually super happy to have alumni go to their career fairs. So make sure you do that. And then being at career fairs, right, with your elevator pitch, and that in itself is a 20-30 minute conversation. But elevator pitch, just talking to strangers, those are all skill sets that no one is like perfect at them or like born with it. So those are things that you really have to go and practice. Like the only way to get good at networking is by doing it a lot. And I will tell you, it is awkward for everyone. So make sure you're going, even if you don't want to, go to the career fairs, go to networking events, go to events, because the more you do it, the more immune you get to the awkwardness of networking. And then people are like, oh, you're really good at networking. I was like, no, not really. I just done it so many times now that it seems that I'm good, but I've just done it and I know how to get what I want. I usually talk about like the Girl Scout cookies. And yeah, so actually we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So go to career fairs, go to conferences. You need a stellar resume. The resume, right, is one of those first things that are going to be the first kind of big decision factor. If you have a referral, if you're at a career fair, your possibilities are much higher, but then the first date you have is a resume. So I'll talk about some general tips on a resume, because I want to leave time for questions, a lot of time for questions, because that's my favorite part of the conversation. So resumes, one. And then actually, let me Okay, hopefully I don't destroy everything, but I'm going to switch my screens and I'm going to share with you some articles that I have on this. That's for free. You can go check it out. Can you see my screen? Like, am I showing my LinkedIn?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so if you go in on LinkedIn, you go check mine out. I have this newsletter. It's free. Go click on it. And I have a complete articles on how to go do the perfect LinkedIn profile, how to land a dream job search. And these are all things that I'm actually going to take down one thing and have in a book or in a course. So go look at them now that they're free on there. Resources for landing your dream job through hiring managers. Where am I going? Okay, here. So resumes. There's this whole article around how to have a resume that stands out. And I talked through like the details, right? Like, hey, here's how you do your objective. Pretty much don't do it. How do you talk about work experience? Give examples too. So make sure you go look at that. That's a good resource because I know people are going to have a lot of questions on resumes. But okay, let's go back to this. Okay, and now we're back to the presentation, right? I'm waiting for someone to give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Thank you, Hayden. All right, so resume, the big things. One, most people summarize what they did in their resume. They give a responsibilities and roles of every single thing they've done. They give a summary. Let me tell you, no one's going to read your entire resume. Recruiters take like 6 to 8 seconds to look at someone's resume to make a decision. And you're going to be like, that's it? Yes. When you have 200, 300 resumes to look at, I'm not going to take more than 20 seconds to look at a resume. And no one else is going to either. And this isn't just my opinion, right? This is like the information that we've gathered from hundreds of recruiters that we've talked to. So you have to make sure that you're not summarizing your life. You are selling, going from summarizing everything to selling. And that's hard for engineers because we're not naturally salespeople, but we want to go sell. How do you sell? You highlight the value you added. Instead of summarizing what you did, you're going to highlight the value that you add. So I created a matrix that helped the schedule reduce 6 months. That shows the value you added. I worked on matrices and scheduling, and that just shows a summary. So it's very different on the way you sell things. And then even like the first word of your resume has to be action, powerful words like led a group of 5 people instead of I was the leader of that group. No, the first thing has to be powerful. So I'm interested in reading a little bit of it. And it should be telling me what you did. So the whole, hey, let's switch from summarizing to selling. That's the number one thing we're going to go do on resumes. The other thing is less is best. So you want to go really do less on it. So you have to take out as much fluff in it, objectives. No one looks at that anymore, especially if you're going to a career fair, if you're entry level. We know you want entry level job. And I'm not going to read that. So just take it off, give yourself more space. Leadership skills on there, going back to like the leadership, right? So we want to see the experience you have, the leadership. We want to see the other big thing is the interest in the industry. If you have everything on your resume, but it doesn't tell me, if I'm at Boeing recruiting and I don't see that you're passionate about airplanes or the aerospace industry, you're automatically going to the middle of my pile. You're not going to the end because you're great, but we're going to hire you. And 2 years later, maybe you're not going to want to work there because you don't care about airplanes. And we want to hire airplane people just because that way you're just happier at work. And this is my opinion, right? Other people could do differently, but this is kind of this general consensus that I've gotten from a lot of people. And not just at Boeing, also at Northrop Grumman, because I also did recruiting when I worked there. So here's kind of some of the things. So make sure you're showing industry. So the other thing is sniper. So you can either do the shotgun approach where you just shoot your resume everywhere, or some people call it the spray and pray, where you spray your resume everywhere and then you just pray that someone's going to see it. But we don't want to do that shotgun method. We want to do the sniper method. We want to aim specifically for the position we want. So I guess a great example of this was when I was trying to do internships. My first year when I applied to Boeing, I applied to every internship they had, including business, including psychology, which I don't even qualify for those. I was just applying anywhere. I obviously didn't get an offer, or not even an interview. I didn't even get an interview. The second year I applied to Boeing, I focused on engineering. It was like, okay, now I'm starting to focus. That's like the logical one, right? Like, okay, go find engineering jobs. Yeah. Still not specific enough. The third time I went, the third year, I focused on systems engineering and made my resume tailored to that type of position, systems engineering position. And that's when I started to get, and I applied to like one job, and I was able to get an interview and then an offer. It's all about, hey, focus your resume on the position. So if you're trying to get a manufacturing position, focus your resume on that. If you're trying, and then have a separate one for systems engineering, have a separate one for design engineering. I have a systems engineering aerospace resume. So I have a resume specifically for aerospace and systems engineering. Then I have a separate one for generic industries and systems engineering. And then I have like a third one for like project management and aerospace. So you really want to make sure that your resume is targeted for that position. So that's another big one, right? So sell, don't summarize, target the positions. I think those are the biggest things in your resume that's really going to make it stand out. And then be simple on your resume. Okay, let's see. Great interviewer. Okay, yeah. So we've gone to the career fairs or the conferences, the resume, and then we'll talk more about that in the future, like a specific topic on resumes. And then interviewing. Okay, so here's one that Hayden was asking about. I think it was Hayden. Yeah. So the big things with interviewing is being confident and being confident, and being prepared. And you're gonna be like, oh, Arnold, it's so easy. Yeah, go be confident. Like, no one's just gonna show up confident. The only way to get confident is by doing it a lot. So practicing a lot of interviews, doing mock interviews, and then being prepared is gonna help you feel confident. And how do you prepare? Well, you're always gonna get these 3 questions at interviews, always. I still haven't found someone that says, actually, they didn't ask me that. They're gonna ask you, why do you want to work at this company? Almost every single company is going to ask you, why do you want to work here? And your answer can't be generic because everyone else is generic. And it has to be detailed. So, okay, Arnold, how do I do that? That should be your question, right? Is okay. So my method is the 3 Ps: people, purpose, and products. So I like to talk about, hey, purpose. I really believe, I'll give you Boeing as an example. I really believe in Boeing's purpose. Boeing, your mission statement is to explore, connect, defend, or something like that. Protect, explore, and connect the world through innovation and aerospace. So I'm like, hey, I worked in defense, so I really believe in the protect area. I got into aerospace because I loved space industry, so I really believe in explore. And then I love airplanes because my family is in Honduras, and instead of having to take a 24-hour drive through borders, which would add more days, I get to take a 2-hour flight to go to Honduras. So I feel like Boeing is making the world a smaller place. So that's an answer, right, with Boeing's purpose. So you want to give that type of answers when they ask you, why do you want to work at this company? You want to talk about the purpose, the products. So I talked about the products with the purpose in there. And then talk about, hey, I really like the 777X airplane, very specific things about you. And then people. How do I talk about the people? Well, you're going to go network, you're going to build relationships with people that work at those companies so they can give you referrals. And then you can say, I also have a mentor from Boeing that it's a really cool person, and I've met other Boeing engineers, and I think they're really cool people. So I feel like I would be a good fit. So you're literally making that company thinks about you, and hey, this person believes in our mission, this person loves our products, and this person thinks our people are great. So you're perfect fit. So that's like really just the first impression. You're gonna like do really well if you start with the 3 Ps on why you want to work at that company. All right. The second question you're always gonna get in interviews is, why are you the perfect fit for this role? And they're not going to really tell you that most of the time. They're going to ask, say, hey, can you tell me about yourself? Can you walk me through your resume and experience? Why are you a good fit for this position? They're going to ask you all these type of questions, when in reality, all they care about is why you're the perfect fit for this position. They don't tell me about yourself is not an answer to go talk about your family and everything in your life, what you do, our hobbies. You can throw that in the back, your hobbies, but it really is, why are you a perfect fit for this position? So I recommend usually go look at the job description, look through all of it, go highlight everything you have experience in so you can talk about it when you're answering that. And then also, anything that you don't understand on the job description, go learn, go learn on YouTube, go Google it. So you know what it is at least. And then you can say, oh, I don't know, I haven't worked on that, but I know what it is. And I would love to learn more. So that's just better, right? So like I said earlier, I don't want to like go through the whole interview thing because there's a lot of things to talk about, but those are some generic things about doing better interviews. Another one is the third question you're always going to get asked is, do you have any questions for me? And your answer is going to be yes, I have questions for you. And then you're going to be prepared. So you're going to have the preparedness before time. So then you're going to be already prepared. And when they ask you those questions, you're going to be confident and you're going to be happy because you already have a perfect answer for them. For your questions, you want to ask them, what are the next steps in the process? Like, how am I, if they haven't told you already, how am I going to know if I got a job or not? You're going to want to ask them, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about working at that company? You want them to be vulnerable by sharing their least favorite thing about working at the company. They're gonna have to be vulnerable with you and they're gonna like you more unconsciously just because they're doing that. Plus, they're gonna talk about themselves. People love to talk about themselves, even if they don't admit it, but they love to. So they're gonna start liking you more. And then last but not least, you're gonna ask them, is there anything on my resume or anything that you feel that is missing for me to be a perfect fit for this position? That is your last chance to either defend a point that you're missing, or they're going to solidify in their heads that you're the perfect fit. So that's kind of a 1 hour interview session, a training session in a couple of minutes. And then there's a lot more details behind that, right? So, but the thing is, I want you to start thinking through these things. I want to start you to realize, hey, there is a lot here that I need to go learn so I can really land my dream job. This is one thing that I feel like we should have a college class on that we don't. This and financial advice. We really need more of that, including taxes. All right. So the biggest thing that's going to help you also land your dream job is getting a referral from your network or mentors. And that sounds simple, but it's very hard to do a lot of times if you don't have a network. And we'll talk about that in a second. But getting a referral and going to career fairs in person, that's going to just increase your odds. And I've said that so many times now, but I really wanted to get in your head. All right, let's see. Alex has a comment. I remember at a career fair, after standing in line for a while and talking to the recruiter for a few minutes, they would often say, apply online, but the human to human factor is worth it. Yes. Apply online, Alex, is usually the, okay, it was great talking to you. I'm not going to interview you, but don't give up. Apply online. I used to hate when people would tell me apply online at the interview, at the career fairs, because in my head, I would be like, I'm here. I want to talk to you. I want a job now. I don't want to be applying online. If not, I would have applied online earlier. But yeah, I remember career fairs, just everyone telling me apply online. And then that changed to, hey, do you have interviews? Can you interview at 10? So that's kind of the things you want to do, right? Your elevator pitch has to be really good. And that whole kind of mentality on your resume, same thing. Sell, don't summarize. Target positions. Okay. So let's talk about how to get a referral. Before we talk about that though, is the other thing you really need to land your dream job is persistence. You only need one yes. So it doesn't matter how many times they say no, as long as you get one yes, you are solid. And that's easier said than done. And going back to the Girl Scout cookies, you're only gonna get comfortable by doing something, by doing it a lot. So Girl Scout cookie sellers, these girls are there all day telling the first person that passes by, Hayden passes by and they say, hi sir, or hi, can I get you, you want some Girl Scout cookies? Hayden's gonna say, no, thank you. They're gonna be like, okay. Next, Lindsay's gonna pass by. Lindsay's gonna be like, hey, do you want some Girl Scout cookies? Lindsay's gonna say, no, thank you. And then, okay. But then every single time they're smiling and they're going back with the same, hey, do you want this? Until someone says, yes, I want some Girl Scout cookies. So then Thomas comes along and Thomas is like, yeah, sure, I'll get some Girl Scout cookies. So it didn't matter how many times Hayden, Lindsay, and everybody else passed that said they got the no's. All that matters is that Thomas said yes, and he got that cookie. So yeah, that's my knowledge. Go become Girl Scout cookies at interviewing and going to jobs. All right, Thin Mints, yes, those are very good. Okay, is this helpful so far? Have you learned anything? Are you feeling like, whoa, this is really good information. This is a really good summary of like everything I'm not thinking about. Or is this all things you already know? Is this helpful? I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, if this isn't helpful, then let's just stop the conversation now.
Let's see, what can we
Perfect.
think about here, guys? What do we have?
Yep. All right, so Thomas is saying, yes, this is very helpful. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. I'm glad that this is helping. Usually here's where in person I get to see people's faces and they're like, yeah, this is really good. Or they seem puzzled because it's a lot of information. And yes, I agree with you. It's a lot of information, but this is a big topic that we don't talk enough about. So, okay, cool, Arnold. You talked about referrals. How do we get referrals? Networking, right? That's how you're going to go get referrals. You're going to have a network. And then you've probably heard this. It's like, it's not what you know, but who you know. And that is not even true anymore. It's not really who you know, it's who knows you. That is the big thing, because you can all know who I am. In this case, it's a small enough group that I actually got to know Hayden and Thomas pretty well now that I talked to them so many times. They're like first in my list. But usually if I'm at a career fair and I'm recruiting people, I don't know who people are, but they know who I am. And even though they know who I am, it's still not gonna like give them a leg up or anything. But if I know who you are, it's much different. And this is just like opportunities, right? Opportunity goes to those people who are visible. Those people have a network, and that, like, how are they going to give you an opportunity if they don't know who you are? That's the big thing here. So making sure that people know who you are, and not just knowing people is really important. And then, okay, that sounds simple, but how do we do that? We do that by building a network. Actually, let's ask you a question. Especially because I'm not getting too many responses. So I'm just gonna start asking you a whole bunch of questions. Where can you network to find mentors? Where can we network to find mentors? Where can you go network?
Professional societies like this one.
Exactly, AIAA. I love it. That was a simple one, right? AIAA. That's a great place to go network. Where else can you network?
Volunteer groups, PTAs, churches,
Yes.
other types of volunteer organizations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I call them ETAs, like AIAA, external technical affiliations, student organizations. And then when you're an employee, they're called employee resource groups. It's literally the same thing, except for employees. Go network at nonprofits. Go network at all these different places, conferences. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Hayden. The big thing with this, right, is when you're networking at a networking event or at a conference, everyone's there for the same reason. So it's awkward, but it's awkward for everyone. So it's perfect, right? You're there to network. Everyone else is there too. So yeah, go get more involved with networking. But okay, so let's see how to build a network to find mentors. So we talked about teachers. We didn't talk about teachers. Teachers, you can go network with your teachers, student organizations, employee resources group, competitions. Go get involved with competitions, special programs. If you're interested in like companies like NASA has a whole bunch of special programs. Boeing does too. That's how I found my love of aerospace. Conferences, Hayden talked about it. Alex talked about AIAA. And then a big one, LinkedIn. We literally have a social media platform that you can go network. All right, so how do we use LinkedIn to network? So we use it by connecting with engineers, recruiters, hiring managers at the companies you want to work for. So you need to understand, thinking about that targeting, right? Like we talked about earlier, you need to go target companies. Be like, hey, I want to work, my case, I want to work in an aerospace company. So I want to work at Boeing, NASA, Blue Origin, Lockheed. So I would target those companies and I would go connect with people, with hiring managers and recruiters there. I have a list on my newsletter of 300 hiring managers and recruiters at all these aerospace companies. So go look at that. And then Arnold, I'm going to send out requests. People are going to ignore me because they don't know who I am. Yes, that is true. So what you want to do is you want to find something that you have in similarity. You want to find that commonality between you and that stranger. So they want to accept your friend request. So the number one thing is alumni associations. Go connect with people that went to your same school. That's like an easy one because it's like, especially students, they tell me, I don't want to go connect with a professional because I'm going to be bugging them. They're busy. No. When a high school students ask you for college advice, you feel honored, right? Most of college students like, oh yeah, they're asking me for advice. I love it. It's the same thing with early career professionals and mid-career, especially. They feel honored when college students want to ask them questions or want to know about their job. So go do that because you're just going to be so well off because you're going to get those referrals to get those jobs. So you want to go network with alumni. You want to go get involved in groups. And what I mean about groups is, in this case, I kind of separated groups and organizations, and kind of wording is bad here. But on LinkedIn, you can go get involved in groups also. So like project management groups, there's like aerospace groups. Go find those groups and go sign up for one. And then you can reach out to someone that's in the group and be like, hey, we're in the same group. I would love to connect. So something you have in similar organizations like AIAA. There is thousands of people that have been involved with AIAA, and they will be happy to connect with you. Just tell them, hey, I noticed you were involved with AIAA in the past. I noticed you were a student leader at AIAA, whatever. I'm part of AIAA also. I would love to connect. Even silly things like your name. Like I've actually gotten people that would be like, hey, Arnold, hey, why is my name Arnold Morales? Well, I don't know. That's weird. Whatever. I just noticed that. So go connect with people that have your same name. Even silly things like that, people will think it's funny. I've had so many times people be like, hey, my name is also Arnold, I would love to connect, or like last names. Go do second degree connections. So it's like when you go to a party and a stranger comes up to you, it's kind of weird. But if the stranger comes with one of your friends and introduces you to that person, it's super normal. So you want to go connect with people that are connected to your friends and network. If you don't have a big network, fine, go connect with me. I have like 19,000 connections on LinkedIn, all in aerospace companies. So you can feel free to reach out to any of them and just connect and say, hey, I saw we were connected to Arnold. Feel free to reach out to any of those people. Even comments. What I mean about comments is if you're interested in Boeing, for example, Boeing posts, hey, we just launched this new airplane. Hey, we just met this big milestone. And you're going to see people from the company commenting on it, being like, oh, we're so proud. Congratulations to the team, blah, blah, blah. So go comment on that comment, say congrats, or just go see like, hey, I saw your comment on this post. I would love to connect. So literally you can find any way to go build a network. And let me tell you something that's going to be amazing. You're going to reach out to 100 people. This is not the amazing part. You're going to reach out to like 100 people. Probably 20 of them might accept, which is a great number, to be honest with you, big odds. But you only need one good relationship at each company. As soon as you find that one good relationship at each company, then you have a referral. And then it's great, keep building relationships, but you don't have to anymore. But you do need at least one from each single company. So that's a great thing. You only need one at each company to be successful when it comes to networking. Okay, great, Arnold. Now I want to build my network. Now I have people connected to me. How do I get past the awkwardness of how do I get that referral? Do I just go up to a stranger and ask for a referral? No, you're not going to do that because they're going to ignore you. So here are 7 steps to build a relationship for referrals. So 1, when you send out that connect request, send a personalized invite, something personal. So they want to, and in that personalized invite, you include that thing you have in common. After they connect with you, you're going to send them a thank you message for connecting. And then you're also going to be like, hey, I would love to get some, and then especially like, this is the hard part, but do it. Be like, hey, I would love to talk to you learn more about you working at that company or something for like 15 minutes. Don't ask for 30 minutes. That's too much time. Don't ask for 5 minutes. That's not enough. Ask for 15 minutes of people's time to learn more about them and how to get into that company. You will get out of those 20, probably 5, but who cares? You only need 1, remember? So you're going to go talk to that person that said yes, go learn about them for 15 minutes. And I've done the same 7 steps. I've done it with like 30, 40 people now, and they all end up getting jobs. I actually did this for my wife. She's like, I don't want to do this, Arnold. And I was like, you know what? Give me your LinkedIn account. I'll do it for you. So I was just typing it on her behalf, like, hi, randomly people. And then a lot of people from her alumni from her school that worked at the company she wanted to work for were happy to give her 15 minutes. At that meeting, You do not want to sell yourself. You don't want to go spam people. You want to learn about them. You want to, because people love to talk about themselves. So you want to go learn about them for 15 minutes. And then at the end of that, you're going to send them another message saying, thank you for meeting with me. So here's 4 times they've seen your name. Then anytime they post, you're going to comment and like on it, because it's like on Instagram or Facebook, when you post something and no one likes it, it's awkward. So same thing on LinkedIn. If no one likes it, then it's awkward. So be that person that likes other people's stuff. You're going to share content. Hey, share things that are going on in your life. That way they see your name again. And then last but not least, after they've seen you 5-6 times, they're going to feel like they already know you. And this is the transition of a couple of months. Then you meet up again for them, ask for advice, and then you're going to be really brave and ask for a referral. And then, yeah, so just ask for a referral at that point. Thank you. Okay. I know this is a lot of information that I'm bombarding you with, but I'm going to stop bombarding with information. You can go follow me on LinkedIn. I talk about engineering, aerospace advice for engineering students, early career engineers. I do one-on-one coaching, group presentations just like this one, and group coaching during recruiting seasons. And then a lot of the stuff I do, right? I do it for a fee, because people just don't want to go through all the content, and they just want like really specific help. But if you don't have money for the fees, then there's a whole bunch of free content. I'm really going to be, it's the same thing. So just go take the time to learn all that. And the only reason I charge a fee is because that's how we sponsor our nonprofit, that we do podcasts, we have company overviews, we've had overviews with like Boeing, NASA, Lockheed, we have panels, success stories, and we do all these really good stuff to create free content to help students land their dream jobs. Thank you for joining the family of people I've been presenting to. This is actually very outdated. There's a whole lot of more schools, universities, organizations that I presented to in the last 2.5 years now of doing this. So yeah, hopefully that was good. And then I love to leave a lot of space for questions, which I left 9 minutes today. Not a lot, but let's see. Questions.
Something I've observed is that sometimes one network is less effective than another. So sometimes you might have to add some different networks or change them to see a better result.
Yeah, and that's great. Everything's trial and error, right? You keep on going until you get that one yes and that one referral, and then you're good. Okay, I have one question for you guys too, for Alex, Hayden, Thomas. What are the things that you're struggling with? And then it can also be landing your dream job. It can be career related. It can be, hey, scholarships. I'm a scholarship interviewer. If anything related to college or early career, mid-career things, feel free to ask questions. What are your obstacles? And you don't have to ask questions. You can just tell me what your obstacles are, and we'll talk a little bit about them. COVID reduced in-person events. Yes, that is a big one. But there is a lot of virtual events. So that's the how to overcome it. But the big thing about virtual events is standing out. The only way to stand out is if you have your camera on. If you are the person, you're like, everyone has their camera off. Hey, I'm gonna be the only person with my camera on. You're gonna stand out. That's how you stand out. Hey, before the presentation, I went to the presenter's LinkedIn, I looked at their profile and I found something about them. I'm going to ask them at the seminar. That's how you stand out. So it's harder to stand out, but there is still a lot of live events that are through Zoom, that are through panels. You can always reach out to people in the panels. Like if you're doing a recording, you can reach out and decide, all of you should have sent a connect request. Those are like the things you can do to stand out and still continue to network.
Okay, what else, guys?
I'm applying for an internal leadership development program, and interviews have been difficult part. Need to practice STAR questions. Yes, if you don't know what STAR is, for the rest of you, situation, task, action, result, a lot for the behavioral questions. It's a really good framework. It helps people answer questions. The part that's always missing in there is people, when they talk about the action, they talk about what the team did. You have to be specific what you did. So and then in results, people don't really add the lesson learned. And I like to add that, and I think it's really helpful. So yeah, the result, it went great. And we also learned for the future that I'm going to do this. So I add that in. But okay, so going back to your question, Alex, the best thing to do with leadership programs is asking people for advice. So go connect, kind of exactly what someone that wants to go land their dream job is. You want to go land that leadership program. So go connect with people in that leadership program. That's what I do. So I want to land leadership programs also. And I already connected with every single person from the leadership programs at Boeing, like a year ahead of time. That way they're all seeing my content. They're all seeing that I'm doing all these great things. And then when I'm going to be interviewing with them, they already know who I am. So that helps a lot. That's how I get a lot of kind of opportunities that like getting a lead opportunity in the first 3 years of my career. And like things like that is because I've been doing that. So make sure you go connect with those people and ask them for advice. People love to give advice. I learned that my first mistake when I applied was, hey, I forgot to include. So like there's people every time they do essays, right? For example, there's always a grading rubric. There's, hey, did this person is the inclusive leader? Did this person has this? So go ask someone like, hey, what are some things that I should be thinking about? And they'll tell you, literally, they'll be like, oh, by the way, they're going to grade you based off of our principles, our vision. Go look at it. And then that's like the easy way to go create your essay to answer that question. And the same thing with the interviews. Make sure you know that programs, what they're trying to do, if they're inclusivity, if they're diversity, if they have what skill set. Go look at all those things. So when you're answering questions, they're based off of that. And then like you're a perfect fit. Very similar when you're applying to roles. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Alex. And then the other thing is just keep applying until you get there. All right, let's see. Thomas, what if you're a mid-career and applying for something different than what your experience is in? That is a great question. If you're a mid-career and you're applying to something different, usually think about it as, what are the skills that can translate to this new role? So you have to go back to the same thing, right? You have to go target what you want. You can't just say like, I just want something different. No, you have to go find what are those different things, make your resume based off of that, and then answer the questions based off of that. What I mean about make your resume based off of that is the skill set that is equal, because it's like, I'm a systems engineer, but the skill set, we're project engineers or design engineers, there's some skill sets that are the same. So you kind of highlight that in your resume, or you focus on that. So when people look at your resume and people talk to interviews, they like, okay, this person has the skill set necessary for this role. And then go look at people that have done that career changes also. So in LinkedIn, I can find people that worked at Boeing that now work at Blue Origin. When I started to interview with Blue Origin, just for like getting an experience with this, I pretty much looked at a whole bunch of people that left Boeing and went to Blue Origin, and the same way vice versa. People that left Blue Origin that went to Boeing to get their opinions on how are things at different companies. So make sure you go connect with people in those roles that you want to have that had your previous roles, and you can look at past and present companies on LinkedIn. So that's some things you can look at.
Yep, and some of those networking organizations can help with that too. When I realized I had more analysis and software experience, I started volunteering with ASME to get more hardware experience, and that's worked out very well.
Yep, thank you. All right, any other obstacles that anyone's facing, or any last questions?
I think we need to all keep applying.
Yeah. Just keep applying. I usually like Finding Nemo, Dory, just keep swimming. So just keep applying, just keep applying. But applying with different skill set, right? Like that whole idea of referrals, networking, that's going to be much more important than just applying online. But don't stop applying. All right, if anyone has any more questions, then we can return 2 minutes of your time. Hopefully this was good.
I want to thank you. This is really great. And I will talk to our groups about your four series of, you talked about how you have 4 1-hour sessions.
Yep.
So we will talk about that and see whether or not we have some cat-free money to pay some fees for some additional sessions, if you guys would like to join in and get extra help. If not, then I will be in touch as well, just to let you know what's going on.
Yep, no worries. And then those sessions, right, they go much more into details on like, okay, here's how to do the resume, here's some practice, here's some worksheets. So it goes into much more details. And then we can also promote on my site on, hey, the AIAA is offering this, go join. And I know like every time I do an event, like 40 people show up at least. So that can help also bring people over to AIAA. because most of my following is aerospace fanatics. So perfect.
All right, does anyone else have anything to add, or are we all set for until our next session?
See Hayden saying, thank you, Thomas. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate you calling in.
All right, well, I think we did some widespread advertising, but if we do this again, we'll do some additional advertising.
Yep,
But
no
I
worries.
think that this was a really good first session, and I will be in touch, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to talking to everyone again in the future or at an AIAA conference.
Yay, yes, yes.
All right. Talk to
All
you
right,
later.
take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.